Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, once celebrated globally as the charismatic Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have found themselves at the center of a storm in Australia. Their upcoming trip, initially announced as a private and philanthropic visit, has sparked widespread criticism online and in the media. The controversy began when it was revealed that Meghan would be appearing at a luxury event called the Besties Retreat in Sydney, while Harry was scheduled to deliver a keynote speech at the Entourage Psychosocial Safety Summit in Melbourne, a workplace mental health conference with tickets costing over $1,500 each. Meghan's retreat tickets were even higher at $3,199, including a gala dinner, professional styling, a premium hotel stay, and a personal photo with her. Taken together, these engagements painted a picture of a trip that many Australians perceived as commercially motivated rather than purely charitable or official. Social media quickly erupted, with thousands signing petitions arguing that the couple, having stepped back from royal duties in 2020, should be treated as private citizens and not receive any public support for what appeared to be high-profile, paid appearances. The situation rapidly escalated, attracting federal political attention, commentary from royal experts, and coverage from international media. For a country already struggling with cost-of-living pressures, the trip appeared tone-deaf and prompted heated debates about privilege, money, and the responsibilities of former royals. What made the backlash especially intense is the contrast between the couple's previous reception in Australia and the current reaction. When Harry and Meghan visited Australia in 2018 during a 16-day South Pacific tour, they were warmly welcomed as working royals. Crowds lined the streets, waved flags, and waited hours for glimpses of the couple, who were newlyweds at the time. Meghan was pregnant with Archie, adding an extra layer of excitement and celebration to their visit. The atmosphere was one of genuine warmth, and media coverage often read like fan admiration rather than news. That trip, full of ceremony, public appearances, and royal duties, set a high benchmark for what Australians expected when members of the British royal family visited. By comparison, the 2026 trip, focused on paid engagements and private events with no official royal duties, felt very different to many. Critics argued that the couple was leveraging their royal titles for commercial benefit, blurring the line between private celebrity work and public service. The petition that emerged on Change.org quickly gained traction, collecting thousands of signatures and comments that expressed blunt frustration, sometimes in ways that public statements rarely convey. The debate in Australia touches on deeper questions about Harry and Meghan's identity and role in the public eye. Since stepping back from royal duties, they have maintained a high profile through media projects, including Netflix documentaries, Spotify podcasts, book deals, and paid speaking engagements. While some argue that these projects allow the couple to pursue meaningful work on mental health and humanitarian issues, critics insist that the commercial nature of these ventures undermines the message of service they continue to promote. Public perception has shifted. Harry still enjoys warmth for his approachable persona and advocacy on grief, anxiety, and mental health, but Meghan's reception is more complex. Her image has become a lightning rod for debate about privilege, branding, and the responsibilities associated with leaving the royal family. Australians, who once celebrated the couple's charm and relatability, now struggle to separate their personal branding from the public duties and expectations tied to their former royal roles. The petition and the discussion around it illustrates this tension clearly, as people question whether the couple is truly living the life they claim to choose, or if their public appearances are more focused on profit and self-promotion. The financial aspect of the trip has been especially scrutinized. Harry and Meghan have made millions since stepping back from royal duties, primarily through media deals, speaking fees, and commercial appearances. Harry's speaking fee for the Melbourne summit was reportedly in the mid-five figures, while Meghan's rates for her luxury retreat in Sydney may have reached six or even seven figures. Critics argue that the couple is profiting from a royal brand without performing official duties, raising ethical questions about using their royal association for commercial purposes. Defenders of the Sussexes point out that there is nothing illegal or unethical about being private citizens who accept payment for work. Public money is not involved, and the events are voluntary commercial arrangements. Still, Perception matters, and the timing and pricing of the appearances have made some Australians feel exploited or misled, especially given the country's social and economic pressures. The backlash is not only about the trip itself, but also about transparency, fairness, and whether the couple's actions align with the values they publicly espouse. Another factor in the reaction is historical context. The legacy of Princess Diana looms large in Australia, where she conducted her own post-divorce tours. In 1996, Diana visited Sydney after her separation from Prince Charles, entering the country as someone perceived as wronged by the royal family. She emerged as a beloved humanitarian figure, connecting deeply with the public without overtly challenging the institution she had once been part of. Harry and Meghan are attempting a similar approach, balancing private initiative with public visibility, but the public response has not mirrored Diana's success. For Australians, Diana's visits were remembered as genuine, warm, and humble. Meghan and Harry's 2026 visit, in contrast, has become a subject of scrutiny and debate, illustrating the challenges of maintaining a positive public image while pursuing commercial projects after stepping back from official duties. The reception that Harry and Meghan once enjoyed in Australia stands in stark contrast to the skepticism and criticism they now face. During their 2018 tour, crowds lined streets in Bondi Beach, flocked to the Sydney Opera House, and waited for hours just to catch a glimpse of the couple. There was a sense of shared excitement that went beyond mere curiosity. The public seemed genuinely invested in the couple's journey, celebrating their charm, youth, and openness. Meghan's pregnancy added an emotional dimension to the tour, making the visit feel historic and personal. Journalists often described events almost like fan experiences, rather than formal reporting, highlighting the energy and warmth that the couple brought with them. This type of reception created a benchmark for Australians' expectations. When members of the royal family visit, it should feel both personal and ceremonial, balancing visibility with a sense of duty. In 2026, that balance has been disrupted. The nature of Harry and Meghan's 2026 engagements created a perception problem. Instead of a formal tour with official duties, they were participating in private, paid events that seemed more about branding than service. Harry's keynote at a high-priced mental health summit and Meghan's luxury retreat, which included multi-thousand-dollar tickets and lavish perks, triggered criticism online. Australians expressed frustration that the couple was leveraging their royal connection for personal gain while appearing to treat public attention as a commodity. Comments on petitions and social media reflected blunt, sometimes harsh opinions. Some argued that the couple had already earned more money than most people would see in a lifetime, and their trips should be seen purely as private endeavors, with no need for public support or coordination. Others characterized the visits as self-promotional exercises disguised as meaningful work, pointing to the disconnect between commercial opportunities and the public messaging of charity and mental health advocacy. Financial transparency became a central concern. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan have built substantial income streams, including deals with Netflix, Spotify, book publishing, and paid speaking engagements. While Harry's speaking fee for the Melbourne summit was reportedly in the mid-five figures, Meghan's luxury retreat in Sydney could have earned her six- or seven-figure sums. Critics saw this as inconsistent with the public image of the couple, who had framed their independence as rooted in humanitarian values and service. While nothing illegal or unethical was involved, the couple is free to accept payment as private citizens. The optics were challenging. Australians who had once celebrated the couple's approachability began to question the motivations behind their high-profile appearances. Were they pursuing meaningful causes, or were their engagements primarily financial ventures? This tension between image and reality fueled the backlash, prompting a deeper debate about accountability and privilege. Part of the criticism also stems from the couple's complicated departure from royal life. Harry and Meghan's decision to step back from their duties in January 2020, a move dubbed Megxit, fundamentally altered public expectations. The announcement highlighted themes of freedom, authenticity, and independence, yet it also left questions unresolved. How much of their brand remained tied to their royal titles? Could they separate public goodwill from private profit? Australians, who had embraced the couple during their 2018 tour, now faced a situation where the Sussex name was being leveraged commercially without the duties or obligations that traditionally accompany royal titles. In the eyes of critics, this created a sense of contradiction. The couple's messages emphasized independence and service, but their engagements suggested they were benefiting from royal association. The resulting tension complicated the public's perception and turned what might have been a neutral visit into a heated discussion. Media coverage amplified the controversy. International outlets quickly picked up the story, framing it as a clash between celebrity and royalty, private gain, and public expectation. Royal commentators debated whether the backlash was fair or merely the result of media sensationalism, while political figures weighed in on whether Australia should provide any support for the couple's visit. The combination of local frustration, social media commentary, and international scrutiny created a storm that the Sussex camp may not have anticipated. Instead of arriving on a wave of goodwill and public excitement, Harry and Meghan were met with skepticism, questions about their motives, and a debate over what their visits actually represented. The situation illustrates how public perception is shaped not only by actions themselves but also by the context, historical precedent, and media framing. Another factor influencing the response is Meghan's complex public image. Harry often retains warmth for his mental health advocacy and approachable persona, but Meghan is viewed more divisively. Critics point to the commercial nature of her events and the perception that she benefits from the Sussex brand while leaving royal obligations behind. Australians' feelings about the couple are not simply reflections of general royal fatigue or apathy. They are specific responses to what the public sees as inconsistencies between the couple's message, behavior, and the perceived value of their engagements. Social media comments on petitions frequently express blunt, even harsh, opinions, emphasizing frustration with perceived inequality, privilege, and self-promotion. While some defense exists, pointing out that private citizens have the right to commercial opportunities, the perception of opportunism has left a mark on public sentiment, making the trip a subject of debate and controversy even before it began. The controversy surrounding Harry and Meghan's visit to Australia cannot be fully understood without considering the broader context of their relationship with the British royal family. Since stepping back as senior royals in January 2020, their connections with key family members have remained strained. Harry's relationship with his older brother, Prince William, has been particularly tense. Reports suggest that communication has been limited and reconciliation, while desired by some, remains elusive. King Charles, meanwhile, has shown a more conciliatory approach toward his son, but he is careful not to interfere with William or risk further destabilizing the monarchy. These internal dynamics add layers of complexity to any public appearance by the Sussexes, including trips abroad. Australia, in this case, is more than just a location. It becomes a stage where unresolved family tensions subtly influence public perception. Any misstep, real or perceived, is amplified because the couple's personal and familial narrative is closely watched around the world. The royal rift has been shaped by multiple events, beginning with the announcement of their partial withdrawal from royal duties. Initially, the couple proposed a half-in, half-out arrangement, hoping to continue working as royals while also pursuing independence. The plan was rejected, forcing them to navigate a new reality as private citizens. Over the years, media coverage, interviews, and books, most notably the high-profile Oprah Winfrey interview in March 2021 and Harry's memoir Spare in 2023, have highlighted disagreements, grievances, and sensitive family issues. In these accounts, Harry described disputes with William and tensions with King Charles, sometimes portraying these conflicts as public and painful. Meghan's experiences, including criticism regarding her treatment by royal staff and family members, have also fueled debates over fairness, privilege, and race. For Australians, these narratives contribute to a complicated perception of the couple. Harry often retains empathy for his openness and advocacy work, while Meghan's image is more polarizing. These family dynamics, combined with media coverage, help explain why the Australian trip has become a flashpoint rather than a simple charitable visit. Media coverage has amplified and complicated the situation. News outlets around the world framed the 2026 visit as a clash between celebrity, commerce, and royal expectations. The discussion is not just about ticket prices or speaking fees, but about broader questions of values and legitimacy. Commentators have debated whether Australians should view the couple as private citizens entitled to profit from engagements or as former royals whose actions carry symbolic weight. Social media, petitions, and viral commentary magnify these debates, allowing ordinary citizens to contribute opinions directly to the conversation. Many Australians express frustration that Harry and Meghan were benefiting financially from their royal association while stepping back from the duties that had originally justified such status. Critics argue that public admiration and support should not be treated as currency for private gain, and that transparency in both financial and ethical matters is essential. Even when defenders point out that no public funds were involved, the optics of high-ticket events and lucrative appearances have created a narrative of opportunism that is difficult to counter. The couple's situation is also shaped by the enduring shadow of Princess Diana. Her legacy looms large in Australia, where she conducted a successful post-divorce tour in 1996. Diana entered the country as a figure who had been wronged, yet she emerged as a beloved humanitarian icon, winning hearts without overtly challenging the royal institution. Australians remember her as genuine, approachable, and humble, someone who could maintain dignity while navigating complex personal and institutional challenges. Harry and Meghan are attempting something similar, balancing visibility with private initiative, commercial projects with charitable work. However, unlike Diana, they have faced harsher scrutiny because of their commercial engagements and the perception that they are benefiting from the royal brand without the obligations that once accompanied it. Media and public commentary frequently compare the two, underscoring how challenging it is to navigate expectations while maintaining independence from a powerful institution like the monarchy. Ultimately, the Australia backlash illustrates the delicate interplay between perception, family, and media. Australians once celebrated Harry and Meghan for their charisma, relatability, and humanitarian message. Now, questions about privilege, profit, and personal motives dominate the conversation. The couple's strained relationship with the royal family complicates matters further, making their actions more significant in the eyes of the public. What might have been a straightforward philanthropic visit has become a test of public perception, legacy, and credibility. The petitions, social media commentary, and media scrutiny are not just reactions to individual events. They are reflections of larger questions about what Harry and Meghan represent today, both as former royals and as public figures navigating the intersection of celebrity, service, and personal ambition. The legacy of Princess Diana casts a long shadow over Harry and Meghan's public life, especially when it comes to Australia. Diana's visits in the 1990s were transformative for public perception of the royal family and for her own legacy as a figure of compassion and resilience. After her separation from Prince Charles, Diana embarked on a post-divorce international tour, including several high-profile visits to Australia. Sydney, in particular, played a central role in her reinvention. She arrived as someone who had been publicly portrayed as difficult or destabilizing within the palace, yet she emerged with overwhelming public support. The crowds flocked to see her, not because she held a title, but because she had connected